So I got 94 people here. And then I think, okay, well, on average, at least three of them, because I'm going by this, I'm going by the jobs, I'm going by who are in these positions of excellence, right? By and large, three of them, at least three, are going to be black women. And by and large, six are going to be black people, six are black men, and three are black women. These are people, you all are people who really have a resume. You really are smart, and your law school professors would say you're smart. Your colleagues think you're smart. You have a record of doing some really important things. And if you're on the appellate court or whatever the court is, a state Supreme Court, you have a record of some, you've adjudicated very important cases if you're judges. If not, you're maybe a professor at a top law school and you do this, you do that. But these are like really serious people. And so now we got to narrow it down.
If I'm looking at this many people, I would pick based on personal values.
Okay, personal values maybe, right? Okay, that or the number of years on the bench. Like, you're all qualified, so what if we do this? Why don't we just pick the black women? Like, whatever, guys. We don't have any black women on the Supreme Court. We've never have. Why don't we just pick the black? They're all qualified. What the hell, right? Why don't we pick the men with, how about we pick the men with glasses? Okay, that narrows it down. We got one guy here, another guy there, there's two more, there's four of them with glasses. Let's go with them, right? Or here's what we could do. Here's what usually happens. I'm President Biden. You're my associates. You work with me, right? You're people I've hired, meaning you think like me, you want to please me, the whole 9 yards, right? You work with me. You're part of my inner team. And I say, hey, Kara, why don't the two of you go out and just give me some names? Go talk to folks. Give me some names. And who are they going to be? They're going to be friends of friends. There's going to be people who you're really connected with or your friends are connected with or whatever the case is, right? It's just going to be like, yeah, it's going to be, it's nepotism, right? I mean, it's going to be someone you know. It's not going to be some, I really hear there's a really, really smart person on the other side of the country who whatever. It's like, no, it's going to just be some connection somehow. So like, okay. So let's just go with the black women. So will the three black women just come down the front and we're gonna nominate you for being on the Supreme Court? What the hell's the difference?
I don't understand why your boundaries are so finite. Like she was mentioning earlier about trying to fill different like personality gaps or different personal belief gaps within the Supreme Court. Like, why can't this apply to that certain situation? And why can't we just take tests out of these people? Like empathy tests or personality tests, IQ tests, law tests, everything like that, and compare them all, and even include it in the Supreme Court. Like, why can't we have them take personality tests and compare it with those 94 people or those 1,000 people, even the 100,000 people that are all qualified?
I think it's important not to do that because you don't want to have personal beliefs and like personalities in a situation that's making such a big decision. Like, the abortion law, like obviously that's a big topic of conversation these days, and we don't want someone that their personal beliefs overtake the logic.
But the problem is, yes, this is a really good point, right? So, dude, you're raising a really important question. That's a really awesome response. And basically, you just open up this can of worms. Can we just agree to put our mask over our noses? We can't even agree to do that. And now we're going to start giving personality tests and like this and that. It's like, oh my God. Shit, just pick someone, man. Just pick somebody. You know what I mean? So so if we start down that road, it is a deep, dark corridor of pain and torture.
Logic isn't it, Logic is just, I don't know. It's very contrasting with empathy.
Okay.
So the reason I said the test is just to put pressure on Biden. So it's not just picking some random black woman. It's picking a random black woman who has the gaps that aren't filled in the Supreme Court. And also there is a gap in the Supreme Court, and that's the lack of a black person. Okay, so let me just say this. Now I'm going to go back to my exercise that I was doing, and I'm going to say it slightly differently, right? There's like dozens and dozens. There are hundreds. We're going to we want the elite, right? We really want the people who are really smart, right? There are dozens of black women in this country. It's like, okay, well, you got dozens of people.
pick from. And you just got to pick one. Well, that's the process that's going on right now. They've got this. They've got far too many people than they could ever choose. Okay, and so he started the process by saying, "Well, we're just going to choose the black women." So, okay, that would be like in this classroom. I have to pick one student out in the class, and I have to pick that person. It's like, well, how about I'm going to start right here. It's going to be from this section. Fuck no. It's going to be these 3 rows. Here, we're just going to start right here in these 3 rows. You just like, let's go. You know what I mean? Let's just do that. So, does that make sense?
It's a little bit too important of a decision to just do that.
Well, no, but he's already starting with dozens of people. Okay, so I'm just giving an example there, but he's starting with dozens of people.
Yeah.
And he's got to narrow this thing down.
It's the same if, let's say, we take tests in the Supreme Court and there's a gap in logic.
Yeah.
And there's not enough people with logic and there's too many people with empathy. I mean, why can't we start with that?
Well,
that's another hypothetical situation.
Yeah,
as well.
because you've opened up a can of worms here. We can't argue. We can't even agree to wear masks over our noses. We're not going to agree what's more important.
Well, yeah, it's a
logic or
hypothetical
empathy.
situation.
Yeah, no, but it's real. Like you can't. At some level, you just go through and you make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
By narrowing his pick to just black women, right? Biden's not ensuring that he's not ensuring that he's going to nominate the most capable person for the Supreme Court. How would you respond to somebody saying that? Given everything, and this is for everyone in class, like how would you respond to that?
I mean, I feel like it's really, like, kind of like we were saying this whole time, it's really hard to find, like, the most capable person and what really, like, makes those qualifications. And we were also saying at one point you do have to narrow it down in such a way that's maybe, okay, I'm going to pick a black woman. So I think by starting out with that argument, I don't think that there's anything wrong, or starting out with that, like, narrowing down to black women, I don't think that there's an issue with that.
And there's not an issue ideologically, right? Because there are lots of really conservative black women. There are lots of really liberal black women. We're going to assume that anybody who's going to choose and who the Republicans are going to accept is going to be somebody who's thoughtful and can use logic and have a certain degree of empathy. And so it's like, okay, got it.
I would say that it's not necessarily true that it ensures he's not picking the right person, because maybe the best person for the job is a black woman. But I feel like he needs...
Well, hang on. You got to go back there. Best person for the job. There's 330 million Americans. There's 46,000 Americans who technically could be qualified to do this job. So I would argue you can't even know who that is. I mean, how the fuck? Who's the best person?
I was just going to say that I think that the statement is not correct by stating that he is ensuring he's not picking the best person, because they don't know, like, if that's true or not. You can't make that statement. Like, maybe the person he ends up picking as a black woman is the best person, but I also think that I would not personally narrow my decision just based on someone's race. Like, I would look at multiple categories of people.
So this is what Senator Ted Cruz said. He calls Biden's promise to nominate the first black woman in the Supreme Court offensive and insulting. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't think it's insulting for him to say that he's doing that. I think that it's not offensive either. I don't find it personally offensive.
I don't find it offensive. I don't think it's insulting.
Well, given what I said today, what would you say to Cruz, given what I said today?
Well, you said today there's no way to technically determine who's the best since there's so many. So then he's just finding a different way to narrow it down in a sense. And they're saying they think that way he's narrowing it down is offensive.
Basically, that's the argument. And so what I'm saying, I'm starting from the premise that wherever I start, if I want left-handed, disabled, people who are dyslexic and under 5 feet tall and find the most qualified, I'll find someone who could be awesome on the Supreme Court. Like, put them on. Hey, you guys are great. Thanks, man. Thank you.